Start rewiring your brain in 2 minutes. That's all it takes. Science says it only takes 2 minutes to start rewiring your brain. Sounds too good to be true, right? So I tested it myself. I meditated inside a $10 million MRI scanner, and the result was shocking. Hi, I'm Dr. Monti. Welcome to House Call. Before we talk about meditation today, let's start with the mind itself. About 15 years ago, 2 researchers at Harvard published a study that became instantly famous. It was titled, "A Wandering Mind is an Unhappy Mind." But you know what? Ancient cultures had already nailed this concept. This restless, distracted state of the wandering mind, the one we've all felt, was called monkey mind in the East. In modern neuroscience, we have another name for it, the default mode network, or DMN. It's a network of brain regions that lights up automatically whenever you're not focused on a task. Its job? Ruminating on the past, worrying about the future, spinning internal stories about yourself. In other words, it's the neurological root of distracted thinking. Now back to the Harvard study. Here's what they actually did. They used a smartphone app to track the thoughts and activities and even emotions of thousands of people in real time. Several times a day, participants were asked 3 things. What are you doing? What are you thinking about? And how happy are you right now? After collecting around 250,000 data points from 5,000 people in 83 countries, the findings were striking. No matter the activity, exercising, eating, or even spending time with loved ones, if your mind was wandering, your happiness plummeted. In contrast, people who stayed mentally present were consistently happier. We often refer to that mentally present state as mindfulness. And this study shows that the brain often doesn't automatically default to a mindful place. Instead, the default often is to wander, which disconnects us from joy and other positive experiences. And if you ever tried to sit quietly, you know this is true. The moment you stop paying attention, that monkey mind springs into action, it chatters. Did I say the wrong thing in that meeting? What if I never reach my goals? Why did that happen to me? This mental noise is so automatic we barely notice it, but it has a huge impact on our mood, our happiness, and our ability to thrive. And if that's our brain's default setting, what can we actually do about it? How do we tame that monkey mind and give our brain a different default mode? This is where meditation comes in, particularly those practices that have a mindfulness focus. If a wandering mind is an unhappy mind, then a focused or mindful mind, well, you can guess. Meditation is essentially a workout of your brain's attention circuit. It's how we train the monkey to quiet the default chatter and stay in the now. And the effects are visible, literally within minutes. So how do we prove this scientifically? We use a brain scan. And not just any scan. We are at the Marcus Institute using this incredible PET MRI machine. This machine is worth over $10 million. There are only about 50 of them in the entire United States and fewer than 300 in the world. What makes this machine so special? Think of it this way. A standard MRI is like taking a detailed picture of your car's engine. It shows us every part, every wire, every piece of the structure. But functional MRI and PET or PET scan shows us the engine running. Having both fMRI and PET together is a game changer when looking at the functionality of the brain. So here's the mini experiment my colleague, Dr. Andrew Newberg, and I designed to illustrate for you how this works.
You got something you don't know about.
So you're
saying that I have metal, George, but I don't know. That's okay, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
This thing is super sensitive.
If you see me like being flown across the room.
We have done this in large-scale studies as well, using PET, fMRI, and the combination of both. First, we needed a baseline, a snapshot of my brain in that restless, slightly anxious monkey mind state. To do that, I listened to the financial news of the day.
The fear of recession is mounting in the United States.
That always works because broadcast news is designed to hold our attention by creating a stress response, which is why we should be mindful about how much of it we consume.
Where do you peg the probability of a recession?
The World Bank slashed its global growth forecast to 2.9%, warning that several countries could fall into recession.
How you doing, okay?
I think they wanted me to tell you that you had some abnormality in your brain, even though you don't.
Then I did a brief 5-minute meditation while listening to the Qigong music I normally meditate with. The machine scanned my brain in both states so we could compare them side by side. And the results were immediate and fascinating.
Okay, hold on a second. We're going to come get you out.
Let's look at the scan. On the left, you see my brain on network news. On the right is my brain just 5 minutes into meditation. See all this orange and yellow? That represents high brain activity, more blood flow. Now look right here. At the front of my brain, the frontal lobe. This area, which includes the anterior cingulate, is basically your worry center. It regulates your emotional responses. Look at it on the left. The news one, it's lit up. That's the monkey mind in action. Worrying, ruminating. Now look at the right meditation part. That exact same area is quiet. It's calmed down. But that wasn't all. Look at this area called the insula. The insula is the critical junction between how you think and how you feel. It helps you process and understand your emotions. During meditation, activity here quieted down. This is so important. It doesn't mean I had no emotions, of course. It means my brain changed its response to them. It's the difference between I am anxious and I feel a sensation of anxiety. So what are you literally seeing on this scan is a calmer emotional response. Neuroscience backs up what I saw. Studies, including several we have done at the Marcus Institute, show how when you meditate, you reduce activity in the brain's default mode network, effectively quieting the internal chatter. Even beginners can see an impact. Brain scans have shown that novices who learned meditation still had a 10 to 15% drop in default mode network activity while meditating, whereas long-term meditators showed up to 30% less DMN activity compared to those who never meditated. One way of putting it is that meditation creates a space between you and the things that worry you, allowing your brain to quiet and refocus some of your mental energies. I tell my patients all the time, you must take a few minutes every day to disconnect. And a great way to do that is to find a meditation practice that works for you. At this point, you might be thinking, sure, meditation works, but isn't that something monks do in remote mountain temples? It's true that monastics have been the Olympic athletes of meditation for thousands of years. In fact, scientists love studying Buddhist monks because their brains show us what decades of contemplative practice can achieve. For example, Tibetan monk Matthew Ricard, sometimes called the world's happiest man, produced brainwave readings off the charts when meditating on compassion. He had unprecedented levels of high-frequency gamma waves linked to attention, learning, and bliss that stunned researchers. His left prefrontal cortex was way more active than the right, a pattern associated with an exceptional capacity for positive emotion. And he's not an outlier. Other long-term meditators in the study also showed dramatically different brain function than novices. Monks who had logged over 50,000 meditation hours had measurably altered networks. But remarkably, even folks who did just 3 weeks of daily 20-minute meditation began to show positive brain changes. The takeaway? Anyone can train their brain for the better. You don't need to be a monk. You just need to be consistent. In fact, meditation has fully entered the modern mainstream.
It's probably one of the defining moments of my life, having meditation introduced. It changed me profoundly.
I crumbled in the day between 3 o'clock in the afternoon and 7. I mean, I was no good for anything. I couldn't read, I couldn't talk on the phone, I couldn't do any work. It was really an unproductive 4 hours. And now with meditation, it is the most productive hours of.
Look at the world of sports, business, and entertainment, and you'll find mindfulness everywhere. Celebrities and high performers swear by it. Need proof? LeBron James was spotted meditating on the sidelines in the middle of the game. Two-time World Series baseball champion Barry Zito says meditation helped him handle the stress of pro sports. The entire Seattle Seahawks NFL team under coach Pete Carroll was taught mindfulness techniques. They even partially credited their 2013 Super Bowl win to meditation sessions, improving the players' focus and mental resilience.
As you've relaxed, just gently begin to notice your breathing.
And it's not just athletes. CEOs of major companies, from Wall Street financiers to Silicon Valley tech moguls, have embraced daily meditation to boost their clarity and creativity. Legendary Apple co-founder Steve Jobs practiced Zen mindfulness and claimed it improved his innovation. Oprah has championed meditation for her staff. Even the US Marines have tested mindfulness training to improve soldiers' focus under stress. The point is, meditation isn't fringe anymore. It's a highly practical tool used by people at the top of their game, whether it's sports, arts, or business. Why? Because it gives them an edge. It's like a secret superpower for the mind, improving concentration, emotional stability, and even physical health. Research shows regular meditation can lower blood pressure and boost immune function. It even appears to slow aspects of aging. For example, long-term meditators have been found to have longer telomeres, the protective caps on the chromosomes that shorten with stress and age. Adopting meditation doesn't require any particular religious belief, whether you're spiritual, religious, or neither. Achieving mindfulness through meditation is essentially mental exercise. Think of it like gym training for your brain. But instead of lifting weights, you're lifting your attention back to the present moment repeatedly. Over time, that reps out into a stronger, calmer mind. Let's sell the board. Let's get that brain from monkey mind to laser sharp focused mind. Your brain's default can be rewired. Meditation changes your brain fast. Remember how those brain scans changed when I was just in the machine for 5 minutes. You only need minutes, not hours. 2 minutes a couple times a day, life-changing. Together, these very simple techniques can make all the difference in the world. So here's where we do what's called read the board, where during the filming, the staff writes down different questions that came up while I was filming. You meditate inside a $10 million MRI machine. Is that the most expensive quiet time anyone's ever had? I don't know, because I know some people meditate on private planes that cost even more than that. However, for me, it's definitely the most expensive quiet time I've ever had. Meditation creates a space between I am anxious and I feel a sensation of anxiety. Is meditation just advanced grammar practice? Not exactly, but it is a way of creating space. And the space then does change the grammar of the sentence. But the most important thing is that space between you and what's stressing you out. Just 3 weeks of daily 20-minute meditation began to show positive brain changes, right? So I just need to find an app that can get me to shut up for 20 minutes. Shut up and shut down. Really, what we're trying to shut up is that part of the brain that's constantly going and ruminating and judging and overthinking things. And with that, this is House Call. I'm Dr. Dan Monti. Until next time, be well.